So, you know that feeling when your company's growth just hits a wall? Everything feels a bit chaotic, a little unpredictable. How do you break through that? Well, in this explainer, we're going to lay out the blueprint for turning that chaos into predictable, scalable growth. And we'll do it by combining two incredibly powerful forces: revenue operations and artificial intelligence.
Let's kick things off with why this is so unbelievably important. The financial stakes, they're massive. Research has shown that cutting down your customer churn by just 5% can boost profits by a staggering 25 to 95%. Yeah, let that sink in for a second. This isn't some vanity metric. It's one of the biggest levers for growth you have. Keep that number in your head as we go.
So what's really causing this growth ceiling? I can tell you it's not a lack of effort. It's internal friction. You know, that operational gunk that quietly sabotages your ability to scale. And this friction? It usually comes from two core problems that honestly plague almost every company that's trying to grow.
First up, you've got disconnected teams. Marketing's over here chasing MQLs, sales is laser-focused on closing deals, and customer success is constantly putting out fires. It's like they're all running their own separate races with different finish lines and different scorecards. This creates a really clunky, disjointed experience for the customer and a whole lot of wasted energy internally.
And the second problem? Oh, it's a big one: siloed data. The average company is juggling over 100 different software applications. Can you believe that? So when your customer data is scattered across all those different tools, you end up with conflicting reports. Nobody has a single clear picture of what's really going on. You're basically trying to make mission-critical decisions with data that's arguing with itself.
So what's the end result of these disconnected teams and silo data? You guessed it, unpredictable growth. You get these wild swings in performance, you can't forecast your revenue with any real confidence, and it just feels like you're always playing defense, constantly reacting to problems instead of actually planning for the future.
And this right here, this visualizes the financial bleeding perfectly. It can cost you 5 times more to bring in a new customer than it does to just keep an existing one happy. So when your internal chaos causes customers to walk out the door, you're not just losing that revenue, you're burning through cash on this incredibly expensive acquisition treadmill just trying to stand still.
So how do we fix this? How do we break this chaotic and costly cycle? Well, you can't just tell your teams to collaborate more and hope for the best. You need to re-engineer the system itself. And the foundational solution for that is building an alignment engine for your entire go-to-market motion. This is the core purpose of revenue operations, or RevOps.
And look, RevOps is so much more than the latest corporate buzzword. It's a strategic framework. It's designed specifically to break down those internal walls. It pulls your sales, marketing, and customer success teams together into one single high-performance revenue engine, where everyone is accountable to the exact same bottom-line results.
A really solid RevOps strategy is built on 3 main pillars. First, you have to pull all your data together into one trustworthy place, your single source of truth. Second, you get all your teams aligned with shared goals, moving past those siloed, department-specific KPIs. And third, you map out that entire customer journey, from first touch to renewal, so everyone knows exactly what part they play.
But let me be super clear about this. That first step, getting that single source of truth, is the absolute 100% non-negotiable foundation. Because honestly, having bad, conflicting data is even worse than having siloed data. Getting your data house in order, making sure it's clean, unified, and reliable is the most critical investment you can make. Everything else is built on top of this.
Okay, so you've built the RevOps engine. It's aligned, it's running smoothly. Now it's time to add the high-octane fuel. And this is where AI comes in. AI is what takes you from just being aligned to being truly predictive. It supercharges the entire system.
Just look at the shift this creates. Without AI, even a great RevOps team is still kind of reactive, right? You're analyzing what already happened. But with AI, the whole game changes. You move from tedious manual analysis to automated insights. You go from reacting to problems to getting proactive guidance on how to stop them before they even start.
And the impact here is massive. We're not talking about tiny improvements. Companies that really nail AI-driven RevOps, they report growing 19% faster and achieving 15% higher profits. This isn't just a small tweak. It is a fundamental competitive advantage that comes from being able to see the future in your data.
So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, imagine having a sales forecast that's over 95% accurate because AI can see thousands of tiny signals a human team could never hope to track. Or how about an AI that can assess the risk on a deal just by detecting subtle changes in tone and sentiment on your sales calls? And of course, the holy grail, proactively predicting which customers are at risk of churning and why, giving you a chance to step in and save them before it's too late.
Now, all of this sounds incredible, I know, but it brings up a huge, very practical question. How can you actually trust these AI systems with multi-million-dollar business decisions? Let's talk about how to build that essential foundation of reliability and trust. This, right here, is the #1 barrier to adoption for so many companies. If a sales leader gets an alert that their biggest deal of the quarter is suddenly at risk, their first question is going to be, why? They can't just take a black box recommendation at face value, and they shouldn't have to. And the answer to that why is a really cool field called explainable AI, or XAI. Think of these as the methods that crack open that black box. XAI doesn't just give you a prediction, it shows you its work. It highlights the specific data points, maybe a sudden drop in product usage or a competitor's name being mentioned on a recent support call, that led to that conclusion. This transparency is a total game changer because it lets your team validate, challenge, and ultimately trust the AI's guidance.
But explaining a decision is only half the battle. You also have to make sure the AI models stay accurate over time. And that is the job of MLOps, or machine learning operations. It's basically quality control for your AI. It involves a few key things: versioning everything, your data, your code, your models, so you always know what's what. Automating the pipeline to keep things consistent, and, this is crucial, continuously monitoring for model drift. That's when a model's accuracy starts to fade, because the real world has changed. MLOps isn't just some technical chore, it's an essential financial risk management system.
This brings us to a major mindset shift. For way too long, governance has been seen as a cost center. A bunch of rules that just slow things down. But in an AI-powered world, strong data governance is actually the engine of profit. It's what guarantees the data integrity you need for accurate analytics. And that accuracy, it's what uncovers new revenue opportunities and prevents costly mistakes. It's not a cost, it's a revenue enabler, plain and simple.
All right, so you're bought in. You see the potential. But where on earth do you begin? Look, this isn't about flipping a switch overnight. It's a journey. It's about maturing your capabilities step by step. So let's walk through the 3 main stages of that roadmap.
You start out at the developing stage. Here, your one and only job is getting your data house in order. That's it. Cleansing, unifying, and setting up some basic automations. Then you can move to intermediate, where you start to pilot your first AI use cases. Something like lead scoring is a great place to start. And finally, you reach the advanced stage, where AI is deployed across the entire business, driving predictive insights for everyone.
But if there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. Don't try to boil the ocean. The most effective way to start is to find the single greatest point of friction in your revenue process right now. Is it your forecasting accuracy? Is it the clunky handoff from marketing to sales? Maybe it's terrible lead routing. Find that one painful bottleneck and focus all of your initial energy right there.
And that's the question I want to leave you with. Take it back to your team. What is that one thing, that single greatest point of friction that's holding back your growth? Because identifying and solving that one problem, well, that's the perfect first step on your own AI RevOps journey.